Hi, I'm Nancy Lusby with Fresh Coat Finishes, and I'm going to be sharing with you my process for refinishing this antique dresser and the mirror that goes on the top. I'm going to be using two colors of Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint for this project. This one, Carolina Dune, is a light sandy brown. I'll be using that on the top and the drawer fronts. This is a new color in the Miss Mustard Seed Milk Paint line, and I've never used it before, so I'm excited about that. And this one is Curio, which I have used many times in different ways. That's going to be going on the legs, the sides, and the mirror frame. I've used it as a paint, sometimes on its own, sometimes as a base coat for another color that goes on top of it, especially if I want to distress that top color. Then it lets a little bit of this rich brown show through, and that's really great if you like a distressed or chippy look. It also can be used as a stain, which is really cool. You just increase your water. Normal paint ratio is 1:1 water to paint powder, and if you want to use it as a stain, you just increase the water and put it on bare wood, and it soaks in and does a fabulous job as a stain. You can vary how much water you use depending on how dark you want your stain. I know that there is a blog for that process on the Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint website, so be sure to check that out. But for this project, I'm going to use it as a paint, and so I'll be using the 1:1 powder to water ratio. To prep this piece before I paint it, I'm going to have to do some repair work. There is a knob missing, and even though I really like this hardware, I doubt that I can match that knob, so I'll probably end up replacing the hardware. I'll patch the holes just in case the new hardware has a different size to it, and then I don't have to worry about that. The mirror frame had some finials on it at one time, and they were broken off. So I've got some new finials that I got from Woodpecker's Crafts, so I'll be putting those on. The top, the veneer on the top is badly damaged, missing in places, and so, but it's very thin, and so I don't think I need to go through a whole veneer removal process. I think I can just sand it off pretty easily, so I will do that. Now for a complete description of how to prep a piece before painting, I know there is a blog on Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint's website, but for this, the sanding on the top is going to be pretty thorough. The rest of the sanding, I think, only needs a scuff sanding to make the paint adhere well to it. And but first I have to clean it. Absolutely clean every single piece I refinish. I don't think that's a step you can skip. Sometimes I even skip sanding, but I don't skip cleaning, because every piece, no matter how well it's been taken care of, has some grime on it, and so every piece gets thoroughly cleaned. That makes the sanding go easier too. So, but the first step is to remove all the hardware, and then I will get to cleaning. Now, as I mentioned, there are options for cleaning your piece. My personal preference is to use as few chemicals as possible. So in this case, I think I'll just be using a mixture of Dawn dish soap and water. It's pretty gentle, and I think that will do nicely on this piece. So I will get to that, and then we'll start painting. Okay, so all the repairs have been made. The dresser has been cleaned, sanded, cleaned again, and it's ready to paint. I've got my two colors mixed up. This is Curio, which is the color of the month for October. This one is Carolina Dune. As a reminder, I'm going to be painting the drawers and the top in Carolina Dune, and the mirror and the rest of it will all be done in Curio. I've mixed both of them in a 1:1 paint to powder ratio, which is your usual ratio, and I use these jars because I prefer to kind of shake the paint to make sure it gets incorporated thoroughly. And I even added a few drops of Milk Mix EZ because I like to shake it, then that calms down the the foaminess a little bit, and it is ready to go. So without further ado, I will start painting. Look at that beautiful brown. I just love curio. So many ways it can be used. By itself, like this, as an accent, as a stain, as an undercoating. Beautiful rich brown. And I have to say, I really love the new formulation of Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. It may take a little more mixing at first, but it stays mixed so much better, and it goes on smooth and not as streaky. Yeah, I'm in love with this new formulation. I think it yields a better look. I'm left-handed, so I'm kind of doing this backwards. Luckily, I'm a little bit ambidextrous, so I can switch back and forth, but I don't want to stand in front of what I'm painting. Normally, I don't have to care about that. So the first coat is done, and it can definitely look a little scary, streaky, patchy, but that's perfectly normal for the first coat of milk paint. That's why it's often called the ugly coat. But it did give me a chance to see that I had missed some places that needed patching on my first go round. So I've got that done now, and I'm ready to do my second coat. And I'm back, and everything has now been painted. We've got our Curio here and our Carolina Dune here. You may notice that it looks a little lighter than when I was applying the paint, and that is normal for milk paint. Milk paint needs to have a top coat. A lot of paints have top coat built in, but I think it's an added benefit of milk paint that you get to choose what kind of top coat you put on it, which gives you all kinds of different looks that you can achieve. In this case, I'm going to do a mixture of oil, hemp oil, known as Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Oil, and that'll be on the Curio, and then the Carolina Dune I'm going to seal with some clear furniture wax, Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Wax in clear, and I might add a little bit of antiquing wax in some places where there is indentations and such to see if that brings it out a little more. I'm gonna wait and see on that. I may or may not. But you'll notice that I have put the waxes into these cups and the milk oil into this little cup here. And the reason I do that is so that your brush isn't going into your jar and contaminating it, because a little goes a long way. And you probably have a a container like this for a long, long time. And so you want to keep it nice and fresh as you go. So let's just start out. I'll do a little bit of each. And so you can see the milk oil. I just love putting milk oil on because it really brings out the color, especially on a dark color. Look at the difference. And now it's looking like it did when I put it on there. I'll put some on this corner piece too. And just look how that comes. Just really brings out the depth of the color. Now I'm not distressing this piece. You may have noticed that I've done no distressing on this. I'm kind of leaving that option open. I may or may not, depending on how it looks after I get done with the top coats. I can always wet distress the hemp oil. That's really easy and looks fabulous. And I could distress through the wax too if I need to, and then touch it up afterwards. But I'm kind of reserving that option for now. I'm going to try and sell this piece, and not everybody wants their furniture distressed. I happen to love it, but not everybody does. So I'm going to leave it like this for now and see how I like it, see if it sells, and if it doesn't, I might try distressing it. We'll see. All right, now I'm going to switch to the wax. Get a paper towel here, shop towel. There's lots of ways you can put this stuff on. Just move these out of the way. You can put it on with a brush, all of these, or you can put it on with a rag. I happen to like doing the rag with the waxes, because then I can kind of massage it in. And so this too is bringing out the depth of color in the Carolina Dune. Hopefully you can see that. What I'll do is bring one of these drawers out. In addition to waxes, which come in a lot of different colors, and the milk oil, Miss Mustard Seeds also makes a fabulous water-based poly. If you have something that's going to get a lot of use, you might want to go with that option, and it has different sheens that you can get. There is matte and satin and gloss. All right, so let's put some of that on there, and then I'll show it to you. So hopefully you can see the difference. I put the wax here. This is how it looked after I painted it. So you can see it's bringing out the depth of that color as well. So I'll come back to you after I've finished everything. So the wax and the hemp oil have all been added here. The wax, I take a clean lint-free towel and buff it out right away. The hemp oil, I like to let it sit on there and really soak it in before I wipe off the excess. I even put it on the sides of the drawers. It has this beautiful dovetailing that I wanted to give it some love and not paint it, let it the natural beauty shine. So I will just be buffing this out and come back a little later, wipe the excess off on the hemp oil, the milk oil, and it'll be time to put it all back together and it'll be done. So here it is after having buffed out the Carolina Dune portions and rubbed the excess off the Curio portions. You'll probably need another buffing on both of them before I'm done. I've ordered hardware for the drawers because unfortunately the original hardware, some of it was missing. So I'm waiting on that, which is why the drawers are pulled out so that they don't get stuck in there. I've got the support up for the mirror with the new finials in place. but I have not put the mirror up. The mirror is very heavy, and the screws that hold it in place will need to be painted to match the new hardware that's coming, so I'm holding off on that. I am still leaning towards adding some antique wax around the top, the edge of the top, and the edges of the drawers, just to give it some depth and interest. And I have a beautiful floral transfer that I'm going to add to those bottom two drawers. So that will make it less of a plain Jane. I hope the information I've presented here is useful to you. I'm always happy to get questions. Feel free to message me. I'm Nancy at freshcoatfinishes.com. And when I get this all complete with the new hardware and the transfer and everything, I will post the end result so that you can see it. So be sure to check back. If I've missed any information along the way or it wasn't clear, be sure to look at the blogs on mustardseedsmilkpaint.com, mmsmilkpaint.com. They've got lots of incredible blogs that can help you do just about anything related to milk paint. And I thank you for watching.